Welcome back to the final iteration of how to use Warcraft logs to improve your gameplay. If you missed my first video, there will be a link in the description below, so please be sure to check that out so you can actively follow along. Now without further ado, we left off the last video with analyzing the run I did on my death night for my YouTube series, Road to KSM. Today's goal is to turn this data into tangible actions that I can include in my gameplay to either increase my DPS, my survivability, and even my healing. Let's begin the data transformation. Once you have your logs uploaded and you've clicked on the encounter that you want to analyze, I'll do it again. Here I have it uploaded. I've already clicked on the encounter. Go to the URL portion of the browser, right click, copy. Next, you can open up another browser or an additional tab, which I've already done so. Type in www.wowanalyzer.com. I'll include the link in the description below. Despite all of the goodness on this page, which there is a lot, the one area that we want to focus on today is this section right here to the left of the Analyze button. Right click, paste the URL that you just copied, and it will immediately take you to the fight selection that you chose. If you don't come to this page, don't worry. As soon as you paste the URL, hit the Analyze button on the right hand side. Now we want to choose the fight selection from our session. Once you're at the new section, choose the fight that you want to analyze. Now, this should be the group comp from the dungeon you just ran or the raid. Click on the character that you want to analyze, which we're only going to do my own. If this is your first time using WoW Analyzer, you'll get a disclaimer, and the disclaimer that comes up in the beginning just states that WoW Analyzer is not up to date from the latest Warcraft update. That is common given that we typically have a character tuning every other week. So if you get that disclaimer, all you're going to do is click on I want to continue anyway. The overall information provided from this analyzer is still very beneficial. Now here's the meat and potatoes of what I could have done better in my previous run. If we go down the checklist, it explains that although I used all of my Crimson Tide procs, I could have done better using my Blood Boil and Death and Decay because those are my short cooldowns. So here it took the whole dungeon, what happened in that dungeon, and then broke it down into tangible data that I could use, i.e. cast Blood Boil more, use Death and Decay more. Maintain what I was doing when I saw my Crimson Surge or Scourge procs. Here, about overcapping my resources. I did reasonably well with my runic power efficiency and keeping my bone stacks up. However, my rune efficiency and my Death's Curse efficiency was very low in comparison. So again, tangible data, cast Death's Curse more, and use my runes more efficient. My offensive cooldowns, Dancing Rune Weapon, very low uptime, right? 55%. Definitely could have done that better. If you sometimes click on the information button here, they'll have tips of how you can improve in real time to get better numbers. So after looking at all this readable data, you still might say, what can I do to improve? Well, scroll down to the suggestions part, and here it is, plain English. What do you need to do? There were 8 possible casts that I could have used Abomination Limb. I only did it 5 times. So, i.e., I could have cast it 3 more times to meet the max. Blood Boil. Throughout the whole instance, there were 176 possible casts. I did 85. Right? It is recommended that I at least meet 85% for the whole dungeon. Way low. Dancing Rune Weapon. I missed 7 opportunities for the cast. Didn't even do Empower Rune Weapon. 0 out of 8 possible casts. And in my Death and Decay were 26 below what I could have done. So here I have tangible data of what I could do for my next run in order for me to be mindful on how I can increase my survivability, my DPS, and for me as a Death Knight, my healing. If this was a pure DPS toon, it would have whatever casts or abilities that are beneficial to my DPS character. If this was a healing toon, it would have whatever casts or abilities that were beneficial to my healing. It also analyzes my gear, right? Which I know I didn't have a strong chest enchant, I didn't have a belt buckle, my legs were missing enchants, etc. Right? Again, all information required to improve my DPS, right? Especially when we talk about maximizing your parse. As you can see, the combination of using Warcraft logs and WoW Analyzer could have you doing more DPS, better healing, and even improve your ability to survive. However, there's still more. For the data junkies out there, you can browse the different tabs up here and further deep dive on what you could have done to squeeze out that extra 1 to 2% DPS healing or survivability. It also gives you a timeline for the entire dungeon, or for that entire section of the dungeon, on when you cast your abilities, so you see when the run first started, right? You got the 10-second countdown from the key. Then 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds after that countdown, I sped up. I used my movement speed to get to the mobs. The first thing I cast was Abomination Limb, followed by my Rune Weapon, followed by my Blood Boil, popped my Lynchborn, Blood Boil, Death and Decay, Vampiric Blood, Blood Boil again, and then no abilities were used for this length of time. So you can see the gaps that it picked up when analyzing on when I had abilities available and if I actually used those abilities. I hope this guide has been helpful, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Again, if you didn't see the first video, that link will be provided in the description below. Warcraft logs and WoW Analyzer together will improve your gameplay, guaranteed. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Peace.